Welcome to Zoe Olivia Mindset. I'm your host, Zoe, coach to the growth-minded high achiever, expert leader of full life transformations, and a voice for abundance, self-love, and mind, body, and soul alignment. This show is for out-of-the-box thinkers with big dreams, and every episode is designed to help you feel safe and free in your own skin, as well as guiding you in your healing and awakening journey. May you feel energized, expanded, safe, inspired, and free. Thank you for joining me. Let's go. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to Zoe Olivia Mindset. I am so thrilled, as always, to have you guys here with me. And this episode is going to be interesting, guys. So I hope you have your seatbelts buckled. I am super pumped, but as always, I do want to start with a couple orders of business. So, first order of business, if you use the beautiful social media platform Instagram, please go ahead and take a second now to follow, if you don't already, my lovely brand new Instagram for my podcast page at Zoe Olivia Mindset. That's at ZoeOliviaMindset. I genuinely am not sure if I spelled that right, but it's at Zoe Olivia Mindset. I will pop up and you'll say, oh, that's her. And you'll see all these beautiful motivational quotes. So that is the first order of business, you guys. Order of business number 2. Okay. This one rocks. So I am recording this at the end of August 2022, and I have a very special monthly group container launching very soon. So if and only if this is calling to you, this is resonating with you, please go ahead and DM my podcast page at Zoe Olivia Mindset to find out more details about it and to reserve your spot. It's all about abundance, getting that mind, body, and soul aligned to really get the things that you deserve in life. So go ahead and shoot me a DM if and only if this is calling to you, okay? Sending you guys so much love. Let's go ahead and dive in. So, I am not sure how much you guys are aware of my creative process, but usually before I record or as I'm recording a podcast episode, I'm looking over. I don't really write, as you could tell. I'm like really freestyling over here. I don't really take detailed notes, but I do more or less have some bullet points, usually for my episodes. Today, for many reasons, most importantly, because it ties in with today's theme, I have little to no notes. I am really letting this come through and just flow through me for you guys. I know exactly what I want to talk about. And I think you guys are going to love it. So let's talk about what it means to have a fulfilling life and to find your purpose. So as always, I'm going to be asking these rhetorical questions, right? How many of us are currently waking up and we're like, oh, not again, I'm here. Oh God, and I got to do the same stuff, right? How many of us are really craving waking up and saying, like at the end of those antidepressant commercials when like the sun comes out and they're like, let the sun shine, right? And you're like, oh, I get to be here. I get to have fun. I get to live my purpose, right? Isn't that something that your soul is really calling for? So your girl, your podcast host over here, lived both of those. Okay. And what I want to talk to you about is, especially if you're in that 1.0 paradigm, if you're feeling like you're waking up and you're feeling lost or confused or feeling like you're kind of living less than you're capable of, you're not happy, you're just kind of, trudging along day after day and just like waiting for it to get better, right? Planning your next vacation, you're like, is this again, right? And you really just want life to just flow seamlessly, okay? That, my darling angels, is the point of this episode. So, if you're listening to this, I want to give you some tips on how to move yourself from that first paradigm into waking up and really loving your life and feeling like the life that you live is fulfilling and aligned with your soul's purpose. So, before I even get into tips, if you're hearing me say, how to find your life's purpose, and you're like feeling really far away from that right now, I want you to hear me when I say that's okay. It's okay to not know right now why you're here, what your purpose is, what it means to even have a soul. It's okay to have a lot of questions. It's even okay to wake up and groan before you like start your day. It's okay. So you know me, and we never ever beat ourselves up for our starting point, which is exactly where you are right now. Okay. The goal, however, is to start living a life aligned with who you really are and what really brings you joy, what really brings you fulfillment. Okay. So, how do we do that? Okay. Before we get into that, let's really harp on why this is important. Okay. So many of us look around and we say, it would be great if I had this or that or the other that I don't have right now. Why don't I have it? Why don't I have that life that I see on Instagram that everyone else has, right? Why am I still working at that job? Why can't I just wake up and feel fulfilled? Maybe if I have another iced matcha, or if I buy myself something nice, or if I just do everything I can to cling to those instant dopamine hits, I'll just feel better and it will just magically be enough, right? So if you're listening to this, you probably are already at the point in your journey where you've done all of that and you're like, this isn't working. Maybe you've heard about the quote unquote law of attraction, or quote unquote manifesting, or you're attracted to those kind of words. You're like, okay, maybe there's an easier way to do these things. Maybe there's an easier way to live my life that doesn't have to be full of suffering, doesn't have to be against the grain and always, feeling like I'm in the depths of the darkness kind of a situation. You're right, there is. Okay, so I want to explain something first of all, before I give you some tips on how you can identify your life purpose and really live a fulfilling life. Okay. You may or may not have heard me say this before, but you receive in life not what you want. You receive what you are. Okay? So, you know that your girl is always going to slow down when she says those profound things, and I'm going to repeat it again. Okay? You don't receive what you want, you receive what you are. So, getting really, really clear is going to be important. Okay? Let me make this make more sense. So, there is a very high chance, if you're listening to this right now, that you have a vague to medium rare, mildly spicy idea of who you are, but you don't have it fully fleshed out. You're not clear. You can't say, you can't look me dead in the eyes and tell me what your core values are or what your purpose is, and that's okay. Okay. The purpose of this episode is for me to give you some ways to figure it out. So, tip number 1 on getting clear on who you are. This is actually tip 0. I don't even want this to be tip 1 yet, but tip 0, acceptance. Okay? There is a chance that if you don't have who you are fully fleshed out, and you are a high achiever, someone who is capable of doing great things and intellectual and listening to this podcast, that you're really beating yourself up for not having it all figured out. Okay? Step 0 is accept that where you are is just a starting point. You're not condemned to being here. As a matter of fact, the sooner you stop condemning yourself, the sooner that you're going to get out of here. So show yourself some love. And if love is a little bit too hard for you right now because you are ethereal overachiever, I've been there, okay? Start by just being non-judgmental. Start by taking negative ways that you talk to yourself and making them neutral, okay? Because what we don't want to do is be beating up on ourselves, because remember, you receive what you are. So if you're beating up on yourself, you're going to get a whole lot more of that, and we don't want that, okay? So tip 0, acceptance. Accept where you are. It's okay, and you're not condemned to being there. The sooner you show yourself some compassion, maybe love is a little too extreme, but you show yourself some non-judgmental curiosity, the sooner that you can shift out of that state, okay? Tip number 1. Woo! This one is going to land interesting for my beautiful, high achiever, spiritually minded, beautiful souls, okay? Tip number 1 is listen to your heart, okay? I want to be really clear here. Not once did I say listen to your brain, okay? We're going to get there, but let's understand the difference between the mind, the supercomputer that's upstairs, and then the infinitely more expansive supercomputer that is more downstairs, aka your heart center, okay? Your heart center can pick up on things. I want to say the data shows right now, and the data is always evolving, but the data as of right now shows that the heart can pick up things 50 times faster than the mind. And the mind's a supercomputer, so imagine what that says about the heart, right? So when I say listen to your heart, when it comes to cultivating your identity, let this land for a second. You already know who you are. You just have to remember. The clues are inside of you. Your heart already knows. It just has to have enough space to do the talking, and you have to be able to do the listening, okay? So, ways to listen to your heart. I strongly, strongly invite you, after you listen to this podcast, or even right now, you can hit a pause after I give you the instructions, whip out those journals, and write your truth in the form of these prompts. Number 1, what did you love to do as a child? This is not something that I recommend that if you're driving, you just think like, okay, and then I used to play on the playground, and then you think back to your stressful life. This is something that if you want to see results, you got to take some time. I'm talking minimum 10 minutes after this and go in. This is not just like, just let the thought land and then it goes out as soon as it comes in. No, like, your higher self is counting on you. Okay. So, prompt number 1, what did you love to do as a child? Like, Zoe loved to ice skate, honestly. Still does. Fun fact about me. Getting really in touch with that child inside of you. And not only what did you like to do as a child, prompt number 2, what do you love to do now? For fun, like not for work. Do you even do fun stuff? And I don't mean like buying yourself a present. I mean like, what is a hobby that you have? Okay. So the next, this is all kind of piggybacking on each other, but I really highly suggest that you guys do journal. And I highly suggest that the journal is handwritten, because that goes straight up into the brain. Okay. So the next prompt in tip number 1, listen to your heart, is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Ikigai. It's a Japanese philosophy of living your life. It's actually a book that's on Amazon right now. Totally recommend it if you're like very into finding your life's purpose. Essentially, I'll give you the SparkNotes version. You're going to answer these 3 questions. Number 1, what brings you joy? Number 2, what are you good at? Number 3, what does the world need? That's getting really clear on not only who you are, but how you can make a difference in this world, because spoiler alert, it is not just about us. It's bigger than us, and we are here to make a difference for the collective. So the sooner you can start thinking bigger than you, the sooner that you will be living your best life and living your soul's purpose, okay? So We're going to start to listen to our heart. That is tip number 1. Tip 0 is to accept where we are now. Tip number 2, I am just like, I know myself and I have a feeling that I'm really going to get ramped up on tip number 2. So stay with me at tip number 2, okay? So if tip 1 was listen to your heart, that beautiful organ that we have in the middle of our chest, a little to the left. Tip number 2 is learn how to quiet your mind. Okay, so we talked about the heart and we talked about the brain. Which one is the servant and which one is the master? If you're listening to this, it's very likely that your brain, your mind runs your life. You're really smart. I get it. I see you. I love you. I support you. But let's iron this out, right? Because you don't want to be living backwards. The natural order of events is listen to the heart. The heart is the master and the mind is the servant. So again, and I've gotten some amazing questions on this. Like if I teach this in a class or with clients, they're always like, okay, so am I just meant to like listen to my heart and do nothing? Like, where does the brain come in? Okay, my golden angels, amazing questions, right? The brain is here for a reason, right? We're sentient beings, we're conscious. It's just not meant to be the master. So the heart is meant to say, okay, Zoe loves ice skating, so that's what she's going to do. And the brain is meant to organize to fall in line with what the heart says, to say, okay, so in December, she's going to go to Colorado, and I've never been to Colorado, clearly, but she's going to go ice skating because that is something that is aligned with who she is. And it's really important that in building her life, she feels nourished. Her inner child feels nourished. Okay, so that's what I mean by quieting your mind. The mind is the servant, the heart is the master. And no, this does not mean let your brain go on vacation. This just means understand the proper role of the brain as the servant, okay? It is super common when you first start this that your brain is going to totally get really freaked out and say, oh my God, we're not ready for this. I think I've quoted this on another, oh my God, I quoted this on a client session. That's what it was. You know the episode of SpongeBob where he's like going through the file cabinets and he's like trying to figure out and he's like having a freak out panic attack? It may feel like that because the brain, the ego, the mind is trying to retain control out of a situation. And guess what happens, right? If the heart picks up on something faster than the brain, it's very likely that the brain won't assign logic to it because there is no logic because the heart picked it up and the brain is too slow. Does this make sense? So it's about understanding that. It's about understanding that, okay, brain, I know that you're just trying to quote unquote protect me, but it's okay. I got this. I trust my heart. And the brain's going to be like, oh my God, we're going to die, we're going to, ah! And you're going to say, okay. And if it's really bad, I totally recommend you get on the interwebs, you look up breath work, you look up EFT tapping, you look up literal like nervous system hacks to keep yourself calm while you listen to your heart because you are not here to listen to anything else. Okay, so next tip. If tip 0, I like how I'm recapping a lot today. It's keeping me fresh, it's keeping me going. Okay, so tip 0, acceptance. Tip 1, listen to your heart by doing those journal prompts. Again, this isn't something to just do while you're driving and absentmindedly think about it. This is something to sit down and to devote at least 10 minutes to, okay? Your inner child, your higher self, everyone is rooting for you and they want to be seen by you. Tip number 2, quiet your mind, understanding the role of the mind versus the role of the heart. And if you are struggling with this, if you're dealing with any kind of anxiety or panic or avoidance behaviors, supplementing this with some EFT tapping or some breath work, okay? Tip number 3, woo! If you've worked with me, if you've been to any of my master classes, this might resonate with you. This might be familiar to you. So once you are getting going with all of this, you may hit some lovely fear, avoidance, and resistance. So tip number 3 is what I called inspired action. So once we have identified what the heart wants, Zoe wants to go ice skating, The mind is saying it's not productive to go ice skating. We have to do 30 more hours of work and like never leave the house again, and or whatever's going on in the mind, right? We know that we have to quiet the mind, but then all of a sudden, fears come up. What if I don't remember how to ice skate? What if I'm not good enough? What if someone sees me? What if I fall on my ass? Da, 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 da. Fear or avoidance, or actually I'm just going to clean the closet, or I'm going to do anything other than like my soul's purpose, which I've identified by listening to my heart. Inspired action means that you're going to feel that fear, you're going to feel that avoidance, you're going to feel that discomfort, whatever it is that's coming up, and you're going to get up and do the soul's purpose anyway, baby. You're going to get up and you're going to do it anyways. Because what happens when we do things we're scared of, we have two choices, right? So let's say I like this ice skating example. Zoe has two options once she's done this whole formula. She's either going to go ice skating or she's not. If I go ice skating, I'm going to feel the fear, I'm going to do the task, and the fear is going to transmute into confidence, and I'm actually going to feel better. Like, do you ever leave a situation that you were scared shitless to do, and you're like, actually, that was pretty easy, and I am a boss, right? Fear into confidence. Whereas, let's say Zoe says, you know what, I'm going to clean the closet. I don't even really like ice skating. It's just like, and I let the fear, the avoidance, the discomfort win. What I've actually done is shown my nervous system that it's not safe to face my fears. So inspired action means once we've identified what it is that we are being called to do, we face everything that we have to face to do it. And then we watch how much easier it gets to do the things that we're scared of. Okay, you guys? So these are just 3 little quickie tips. Actually, it's 4 if you count tip 0 of how to identify and live your life's purpose. I want to always keep it super real with you guys. I know that you might have seen like everybody says like how to find your life purpose, how to live the best life, how to be happy. And that's all amazing, well and good clickbait. But I want you to also feel loved and seen and safe and supported, that if it scares you to like live in your life's purpose, maybe you're not feeling worthy. Maybe you're like, I have a fear of success. All of that is normal and it's okay. I just want to invite you not to linger there. It's okay that you feel that, but it's not okay to stay there. It's not okay to stay in the passenger seat. It's not okay to show your nervous system that fear wins, because you're not here to live a life in which you're playing small. Like, you're just not. And this is me gently / kind of shaking you to remind you that you matter. If you're here in this world, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're half zoning in and out, if you are in any capacity absorbing this information or not, or if you're somebody who's like in another room, all of you guys matter. All of you have a unique purpose to play in this world. So please, please, please do what it takes. Do what it takes. You can. I'm always going to support you. I am somebody who has done it myself, and I plan on healing the rest of my life. So I am right here with you guys, and let's expand together, okay? You absolutely can do it, and you will. I'm here with you. I love you.